Enjoy this special edition of To the Top Talk on Arring It Out. Welcome to the Top Talk with Jamie Arrington. I am your host, Jamie Arrington, broadcasting from the Hub City Comedy Studio in beautiful Midtown Hattiesburg, Mississippi. Basically, I'm here every week to give you a break from all of the high resource 5 propaganda out there in the mainstream sports media outlets and talk about the University of Southern Mississippi Golden Eagles. Basically, if this is your first time listening to this show, we started off as a podcast, and I'm pleased to announce that this will turn into a full-fledged radio show beginning very, very soon. I announced this week that I will be moving to The Score, 1400 AM, the newly acquired, newly renovated, revamped 1400 AM in Hattiesburg. So really excited about that. There's going to be a lot of options and we'll get into all that. But for right now, kind of in the middle of the transition, just waiting for the switch to be flipped. But I didn't want to leave you guys hanging. So I'm going to stick this podcast out there on my Arring It Out podcast on iTunes, SoundCloud, Google Play, and also YouTube. Now with this transition, there will be some more options for you. You'll be able to listen to this show on the air on 1400 AM on Tuesday nights from here on out. Also, we'll have some streaming options on their website and apps as well. And we will also get this out there on iTunes for you guys. So a lot of really cool things coming up with this show. A lot of options to make it easier for you to listen to and keep up with as well. Because I know there's some episodes you missed because of the whole data coverage thing. But I think we're gonna nip that in the bud in the upcoming week. So, like I said, in the middle of transition right now, going to put this out there for you guys in a different manner, just to kind of keep you up to date with what's been going on and help you get through the week with a little Southern Miss talk. So, that's what's been happening with the show. That's why we haven't had an episode the past few weeks, but we're back in the mix and we'll be on the air very, very soon. So, what'd you miss out on? We had the big show this past week, the big comedy show with the Sklar brothers. You know, the guys you saw on Cheap Seats on ESPN. We had them in Hattiesburg. Might have been the best show we've ever had. Absolutely incredible. Solid crowd. Wasn't as packed as I would have hoped, but still a great crowd, a tremendous crowd. The Sklars were very complimentary of the crowd as well as Hattiesburg. So hopefully we're already making plans to get them back in another year or two. So really excited about that relationship and that show. If you came out, I hope you had a great time. I know I certainly did. I'll tell you about the upcoming shows at the end of this episode. Also, Southern Miss football. We've had a couple of wins, had a loss, and had a big game this past weekend, our first conference game against the UTEP Miners. I'm going to get into all of that with my guest today. If you've listened to the show, you've heard him on there before. One of my best friends. So let's go ahead and welcome this guest. He is Southern Miss Golden Eagle Black Ops tailgating legend, Jason Bailey. So we had the big win yesterday, the first conference win of 2016 for the Golden Eagles against the UTEP Miners. Did you get to take in the game? Did you get to watch it?
Oh yeah. We had our normal crew over here at the house. Had a little trouble getting getting the internet feed up, but after we worked that out, I think we missed most of the bad stuff and just heard that on the radio. So once the internet finally cooperated, we got to see a really entertaining game as far as the Golden Eagles go.
Yeah, it took me a while to get it converted to where it would show on my TV. I had it on my computer and on my phone, and, the radio was obviously probably about a minute ahead of the action.
Right.
But,
yeah.
And I'll say this. The game, it's nice having any game on television, and, you certainly can't complain for having free TV, but there was a lot that went on with the Campus Insiders website that just left a lot to be desired. I mean, there was times where they missed entire series of plays, and it said commercial break on the screen, and then you'd get back and you'd be like, well, I don't know what just happened, but it looks like we missed about 3 or 4 plays in the mix.
Yeah, I mean, for the most part, it was fine. I mean, maybe this is my first dabble into Campus Insiders website. So, yeah, it was great that I was able to watch it.
Yeah.
But like you said, I mean, it's luckily, the game was kind of out of hand for quite a while. Even though I didn't get to see a couple plays, it wasn't anything crucial. So who knows what happened? But, it's hard to feel bad about much today, even though I do kind of feel bad offensively. I'm sure we'll get into that. But yeah, hey, got another win and a dominating performance too.
Yeah, absolutely. A dominating performance. And, as it was with, I guess, Kentucky and the Troy game, you kind of start to worry about things out of the gate when the game started. I mean, we drove down the field, couldn't quite, break that third down barrier at the end, had to settle for a field goal, which, by the way, Parker Schonfield, amazing this year. Night and day between this year and last year. I think it has something to do with the hair.
You took the words right out of my mouth. I had a joke in the holster waiting, and took my hair joke. But, yeah, absolutely. I can't tell if he's going to kick a 40-yarder or sing us some Bon Jovi, but either way, he's lights out. He's
ready to rock. So we take it down, then UTEP gets their hands on the ball, and we went back and forth a few times, but, that one scoring drive, I believe it was only 2 plays. And their running back, I mean, he was a beast. He
reminds you, he reminds me, anyways, a lot of Kenneth Dixon from La Tech that we've had to deal with for the past half decade.
Except, I think he did better than Kenneth Dixon did yesterday in those 2 carries.
Right. Yeah, and UTEP, I mean, where would UTEP be without that guy? I mean, UTEP's not very good. They're just not. There's not any way to sugarcoat it. UTEP's not that good. When we stalled on drives, didn't have much to do with UTEP. Heck, you take those 2 runs out of the play. What were they on the 9-yard line, ran 2 plays, scored a touchdown?
Yeah.
You take those out, I don't know. I don't know if you have the stats in front of you what their offensive production was, but those 2 plays, just thinking back from last night, that had to be a bulk of their entire offense.
They had 145 yards net rushing and net passing of 113, which, if you're going to talk about our defense on the season, total defense nationally, and they're ranked 8th in yards per game at 254.3, which is pretty tremendous given, how we struggled a little with Troy and then in the beginning against Kentucky with them putting up, I believe, close to 300 yards of offense in that first half. So for us to be ranked that high nationally after these first 4 games is pretty tremendous and really a credit to Jay Hobson and Tony Pecoraro.
Yeah, I mean, I think you and I were texting last night. I said that it feels like a Bauer game.
Yeah,
it felt a lot like just absolutely dominating performance. You're almost more excited when the defense gets back on the field. I still don't know why that is, but I can't be dissatisfied with a 34-7 beatdown. What do you think?
We left a lot on the table. We're leaving a lot on the table as far as points, yards, first downs. Something is just not fully clicking with particularly the passing game. And Nick, I mean, he threw 3 touchdowns last night. I believe he had, it wasn't like a, earth-shattering performance yardage-wise, and I guess it didn't really have to be. But, Nick Mullins, 176 yards, 3 TDs, 0 interceptions for Nick last night, that was good to see. 16 out of 27 passing, but you still kind of, it feels like something is not quite clicking with that offense just yet. And I don't know whether it's losing guys like Casey Martin or Mike Thomas or, whether it's some of the changes on the offensive line. I thought the offensive line has played pretty well. They only gave up 1 sack yesterday.
Right, and that was really, really early. With Nick and receivers, I don't know. There's a comfort level that's just not there yet. I think that the talent level, I don't think the talent level is any worse than last year. Like, I don't think Nick is not as good of a football player. I think that, I know we lost Thomas and Casey Martin, but, Isaiah, Staggers, these guys, Robertson, DJ's back. It just seems to me like that they're more than capable of filling the void. They look the part. They're still fast runners. The only time we've really dropped balls was in a rainstorm. But there's just, Nick doesn't pull a trigger on time. He throws the ball a little high. He might be a little, it's just, for whatever reason, the chemistry level, it's just not there, but it's not there yet. And that's what people keep reminding me, is that the comfort level is just not there yet. And the word yet is very important, because you would hope that it would continue to get better. And you just pointed out that Nick didn't throw any picks yesterday. That's a step in the right direction. Maybe we stop dropping a few extra balls and see where we are in November, because we're sure going to need to be better than we have.
I want to see, you mentioned it feeling like a Bauer game. I want to see the defense of the Bauer era with the offense of last year's Monken or Fedora era. Like, that's what we all want to see. We don't want to see like a Monken team or a Bauer. We want to see a combination of the best of both worlds. And I think that's what we all were hoping for this year. And hopefully we can get there. I mean, like you said, you really can't complain. We were one play away from being 4-0, Right. So you really can't, harp on that too much. I kind of felt like that Troy game was a little bit of an anomaly, given the way the weather played. Troy, not to take anything away from Troy, they played extremely hard, and that was the most poorly officiated game I think I've ever seen. But right. We just weren't in sync on both sides of the ball at times, and that's going to happen. You're going to have games where you play below your potential, but hopefully it was a wake-up call, and hopefully they'll build on that. And I guess they really just did that this weekend with the big 34-7 win opening conference season. Yeah, I totally agree. And getting back to that Troy game just very quickly, taking nothing away from Troy, because they absolutely won the football game. But if you think it's the remarkable thing to me about that game is that we had a chance to win at the end. We could not have played much worse. But there's 2 picks, a fumbled kickoff, and a snap over the punter's head. If that happens to a half-decent team, then you normally lose by 3 touchdowns. Oh, absolutely. Well, let's talk about a couple of the key players in the game yesterday. I think you got Dylan Bradley. Absolutely. Dylan Bradley has just been an animal. I mean, he seemed a little banged up during the Troy game, but during UTEP, you can't get much more dominant than he was. Yeah, and hey, did you hear that? What was that? That was Dylan Bradley in the backfield yet again. He reminded me of Warren Sapp last night. The guy his energy level was just I know he always plays 90-0, but just last night, I don't know if he was just that much more dominant physically than the people he was up against, or if he just had one heck of a game plan, saw something in the film room. I don't know. But it's almost like he knew the play, he knew the snap count, and I think he tried like 15 different moves to get to the quarterback just to try him out. And he was in the backfield all night long. I think he swatted that ball down with his left hand just to be cute. It's almost like he could have grabbed it with the big ball and outran everybody to the end zone. He is phenomenal. He is. And, 3 of those tackles, he had 6 tackles, 3 of them were for a loss. But, he kind of reminds me of DeQuincy Scott a lot because, DeQuincy would make that transition from baseball to football. He would kind of be a little bit undersized, given, how everybody around him was. But, Dylan's the same way. He's a guy that, weight-wise, he's not anywhere close to as big as the guys he's up against, but yet he finds a way to dominate them, to penetrate the line and to get into the backfield. And, and the leadership qualities as well, he reminds me a lot of DeQuincy. Right, and getting back to the campus insiders, it sure would have been nice if whoever the color guy was last night would have known anything about Dylan Bradley, because he kept just referring to him and saying how he couldn't believe that a nose guard was acting this way, had this kind of ability, and blah, blah, blah. And I think the color guy called him Zach Mullins at one point. There were, hey, maybe that was his first broadcast. I know the guy, I don't remember the guy's name. He played for the Steelers, but, hopefully. Zach Mullins. Zach Mullins. Zach Morris? Zach Morris. There you go. One player that really broke out last night was Curtis Michael. The 2 interceptions, the one that he took 100 yards back for a touchdown was tremendous. It was really good to see the Bassfield product out there on the field and making plays and showing that speed we've all known that he's capable of.
Yeah, exactly. You and I have been talking about the burner from Bassfield since we got him, and hadn't seen much out of the guy in 2 years. And so I kept hearing about him, kept hearing that he was the fastest player on the field and that he's, doing all the right things in the classroom. Just never saw him on the field, so it's good to see him get out there. And I guess that set a record or tied a record or something. You can't go any further.
It tied Presley's record from 2011. I mean, you can't go much further than 100 yards. We'll definitely take that anytime he feels like doing it. But when he got here, they started him out on offense. Kind of played him in that slot role a little bit and converted him to defensive back. And now he's kind of getting the feel for it. I think Cornell Armstrong was banged up a little bit last night, but I think he got back in the game. But, you're starting to see a lot of that depth get playing time because, there's times where you got to have 6 defensive backs on the field given the way these offenses run now. But it was great to see him definitely, making his mark known and making his presence felt in that defensive backfield, especially with a touchdown. Anytime you get a defensive touchdown, it's a great thing. But 2 interceptions on the same night, 1 for a touchdown, that's really a coming out party. Yeah,
that's solid. I'm proud of him. It's good to see him getting out there.
And if you had to name an MVP on the season at this point, I don't even think we've really mentioned his name much, but Ito Smith, my goodness, another 100-yard rushing performance. Ito, I don't know if you're aware of this, Ito in the country, he's ranked number 3 in total rushing yards, number 4 in rushing yards per game. He's number 20 in all-purpose yards per game, and he's tied for 31st in rushing TDs with 4. So, 540 yards on the season out of 4 games is pretty tremendous, and if he keeps this up, he's definitely in line for some postseason accolades.
Yeah, he is untackleable, and he's got a knack for inside running as well. So if he gets on the outside, he looks like Barry Sanders. As he goes up the middle, he kind of looks like Emmitt Smith, and it's just amazing to watch this guy run the ball. And to think we still have another year, and then you see what Jalen Richard's doing in the NFL, and I think he does better than Jalen. So it's absolutely just remarkable to watch this kid. I wish they'd hand it to him every play. Just hand it to him every play. If you don't hand it to him, swing it out. He's incredible.
You could do that, but you've also got George Payne back there, who's really,
yeah.
if you take Ito's stats out of the mix, you still got an incredible season with what George has been able to do. I know he's had 2 games where he's rushed for over 100 yards. You think back to any Golden Eagle season in the past 4 or 5 years. That would have been remarkable in itself most times.
Yeah, well, 2 years ago I thought George was the best running back on the team, and then this year coming in, I thought he was third on the team. And then, with Ito and with Patrick Brooks, Patrick went down, and you're sitting there, what a luxury to have a guy just absolute thundering back, able to just punish people, have a change of pace to Ito. And the only reason that he's not the best out there is because of Ito. It's not even that maybe he's not as good. He's just so different. He's just such a different back to watch. And we have them both on the team and on the field at the same time last night. And whatever formation that was, where, one was left and one was right of Nick in the shotgun. And that's gotta be just tough for the defensive coordinator, as far as planning all week long, I would think.
One of the I guess you could say, we did end up winning the turnover battle last night, but, you have a guy this year like Alan Zay Staggers who has really been a lot of fun to watch. And last night may have just been an off night. It looked like a little careless handling the ball on both of his fumbles. You hate to see that, especially on the muffed punt. The end around, it just didn't take great care of the ball. UTEP went after it, but that was a little disappointing to see those 2 fumbles. But I'm not sure they were necessarily a factor in the game. So I guess if you're going to do it, that's a great game to drop some fumbles in, and hopefully he can regroup and be back out there next week. Because I really love what he does with the ball in his hands.
Yeah, athletically, and both of those things are so coachable. Just teaching moments that you get in the film room, and hopefully you can correct them. It's not like he got caught from behind. It's not like he is smaller than the guy who hit him and he fumbled. Everything that happened is totally correctable. And that's another thing that hopefully will help as far as into the season. help us get everything turned around. Not really turned around, but just polished a little bit heading into November and hopefully the championship game.
So, like I said, the Golden Eagles got the 34-7 win. We are currently tied for first place in the Conference USA West Division with North Texas, who got a double overtime victory over our opponent this coming week. Yesterday, they defeated the Rice Owls 42-35. So this Saturday, October the 1st, the Golden Eagles will face the Rice Owls in Hattiesburg, 6:00 p.m. kickoff. As of right now, it's looking like all indications are going to make it a great day for weather in Hattiesburg and at the Rock. So really excited to get back out there. Now, you went to the Rice game last year. What were your impressions of that Rice Owl football team?
We scored every time we got the ball, and they were horrible.
Yeah,
and it was one of the deals where, and in fact, me and your favorite guy Nathan Hosey, we're at that game, and it was one of those games where I was kind of embarrassed. I kind of wish I'm glad that we kept scoring, but by midway through the second quarter, you're thinking, please nobody get hurt, nobody get hurt. And I don't know anything about Rice. I haven't done any research on them. But I do know that they're horrible. And we're not horrible. And we're at home at the Rock. And we're probably itching to give the home crowd a victory. So I'm sure that Rice is going to suit up and make the trip. But hopefully I don't know. I hate to say it's going to be exactly like Savannah State, because you never know. We can lose to anybody. But it would just be shocking if we weren't at least a 3-touchdown favorite in this game.
Well, I've watched a couple of the games that Rice has played, and they have some potential to be explosive on offensive times. The game they played against Baylor a couple of weeks back, they actually gave Baylor fits in that first half. They really came after the ball. They were aggressive. Baylor was slipping up here and there, and eventually won 38-10. But for a while there, Rice was in the mix, and you were going, wow, it would be something if Rice could pull this off against Baylor. They couldn't hold on. They just didn't have the talent or the depth that Baylor did. But they played with a lot of heart and a lot of fight in that game. And I guess yesterday, anytime you go double overtime, you got to have the ability to persevere and to stick with the game plan and with the team. And they lost in double overtime. You hate that. That's kind of a backbreaker. Kind of kills your momentum. Hey, hopefully it'll kill the momentum going into this week. But
and you said so they're 0-4.
0-4. They got dominated by Western Kentucky, which Western Kentucky has played really, with the exception of getting blown out by Alabama and then faltering at the end against Vanderbilt. Western Kentucky looks very explosive, and they kind of look like they could be the team to beat in the East, along with Middle Tennessee State. They lost to Army, another Monken coach team, his brother Jeff. They lost to Baylor 38-10 and then losing to North Texas. So doesn't look to be a very good football team. But, you remember a couple of years ago, Bowers last year. I mean, I'm not sure they won any games coming into that game, and they ended up pulling the upset on us that kind of pretty much derailed the end of Bowers' career.
Yeah, I would, if we had not lost to Troy, I would feel a whole lot worse about this upcoming game. Just knowing Southern Miss's tradition with always laying at least one egg. But, and like you said, I think on your last week's podcast, or maybe it was just when you and I were talking, you hoped that Troy game was our egg. If that was our egg, then we're in great shape. If we have another egg, like I said, we can lose to absolutely anybody. But talent-wise, player for player, coach for coach, record versus record, there's just not a whole lot of ways that Rice is going to be able to stay on the field. If as soon as Nick Mullins remembers that he's Nick Mullins, and they put Isaiah Jones back in the lineup, we'll probably have a passing game. And even if we don't, if you take all the wide receivers out of there and and George just run it the whole time, I just don't see a whole lot of ways. Did you watch Rice play? Did they stop the run?
No.
This is Baylor. Did they?
No.
How did they stay in the game?
They just played. I think they got a couple of turnovers. They just played really hard. I mean, they were really flying after the
turnovers.
ball.
There you go. Yeah. I think you just hit the nail on the head. We throw the ball around and throw some picks like we did versus Troy and give it up and snap it over the punter's head. Absolutely. We could lose by 2 touchdowns. If none of that happens and the defense gets off, gets out of the dorm room and shows up to the field that day, then we're fine.
And this is, looking at the schedule, this is a game that's coming at a good time because we're still trying to hit our stride on offense. And, getting to take on an opponent where we should be able to do that. The next week we're at Texas San Antonio, which, they came close to winning a couple of games they shouldn't have won. I think they came close to beating Arizona State a couple of weeks back. But, they're a Frank Wilson team. They're Pete Golding as their defensive coordinator. There's some bad blood between the two teams right now, especially given from a fan's perspective with some of the things that happened around signing day last year. Then the week after that, October 15th, we're at LSU, which very well could be an Ed Orgeron coach team at that time. And then we come back home for Marshall. So, it's not going to be an easy slate here for the month of October. So it's kind of good that we can get that Rice game to hopefully give us some momentum on the offensive side of the ball, particularly in the passing game.
Right, yeah. I hope that Rice gives us all that we want, honestly. Just because, at some point we're going to face a team that's going to be pretty good. And kind of like we did with Troy. And if you win a whole bunch of games in a row super duper handily, and it's just human nature to expect it to happen and, maybe not run as crisp of a route or do as much work in the film room as you should. And then you pop up and you get beat. So I hope that Rice comes out and really gives it all they got, and then we win by 3 touchdowns. But, we have to work for it. We'll see what happens. But, yeah, it's going to be a fantastic day at the Rock. It's going to be perfect weather because I looked at the Weather Channel and it never lies. And just like last game where I told everybody to come on out, it was going to, the storm was going to dissipate by game time, and I could not be. I think I'm still wet. But, yeah, look, it's going to be a fantastic day. Everybody needs to come out. The students keep showing up. Your students are probably looking, I hadn't seen the student section look as good as they're looking now. It's probably Fedora. So I'm really looking forward to it. Fired up.
I am too. It's always great to be out at the Rock. And, I called you. You're Southern Miss Golden Eagle Blackops tailgate legend. I mean, we always have a great time out there. And we had to make a transition because we lost Coach Munkin, and we have a new pregame ritual. We used to have the Drunken Munkin. Now we've got the Funky Gold Medina.
Right.
Hopefully it can get its magic back this week and deliver us to a victory. But, with the rain at the Troy game, I didn't mind it as much being in early September. It's when it starts raining at the end of November that it really gets annoying.
Yeah, like the day after Thanksgiving when we play La Tech here this year. Let's not have a rainy day that day.
No.
Number one, it's always tough to get fans out the day after Thanksgiving. There's like 15,000 of us that are always going to be there, and then the rest.
And that game,
looking at it, it's going to be a huge, huge game. Marshall, I don't know if Marshall's as good as we thought they were, but Louisiana Tech, could be one of the toughest games left on the schedule. Yep. And also, went to that game last year. In fact, it rained there. I remember having a poncho on for that game. Too. I don't know if we had as many people as La Tech, but it was close. We had a ton of people go to the game. So I don't know if they're going to try to recreate that, but that would be nice. It would be great to look over there and see just that side of the visitor side in the end zone, filled up with blue, and then buying hotel rooms and eating food and coming around and drinking a beer with us at the tailgate. That'll be fantastic, and they might want to after the absolute beatdown we laid on them last year, and they were probably embarrassed about how many people we brought as to how many people they had in the stands. So I love having Tech in the league, man. I love it. I love it that it's drivable. I love it that we're comparable. I love it that that I think they like it. That's one theme, and as much as I want to get out of this league, I love playing those guys, just like I used to love playing Tulane and Memphis. And I hope that we leave really quick, and I can look back on it and say that was fun. But as of right now, it's probably my favorite game.
Here's another thing to think about, okay? So we're 1-0 in conference right now. And keep in mind, this is fan speak. You got to take it one game at a time. But looking at the conference games on our schedule, all right, we got Rice, takes to San Antonio. We've got Marshall at home. We've got Charlotte at home. We go to Old Dominion, go to North Texas, and then we're back home at Louisiana Tech. There is a good possibility that if that game against Louisiana Tech could be for us hosting the conference championship game the following week, which would be huge. Given all the conference championships we've won, back when we won the bulk of them, there wasn't a conference championship game. And we've played in how many? 1, 2, 3 of these conference championships games, all on the road. We've won one of them. It would be nice to finally get one of those at home.
Yeah. It would be, that could be like a dream come true. And that's things that people will show up for in droves. I wonder how you even get tickets. I guess they'll open it up to season ticket holders and Eagle Club members. And then, because, that'll be a hot ticket. That'll be just an absolute hot ticket. And it'll definitely sell out. Man, and also, I want Western Kentucky at the Rock for the championship game. After what happened last year, I can't tell you how much I think that they're just a dirty team. And I don't know why none of them were called. But I want those guys back at the Rock for the championship and, take no prisoners whatsoever, unleash Dylan Bradley and Fear 12 and let the chips fall where they may. I hope that nobody listening is going to be sitting behind me during that game if it happens because, number one, you're never going to sit down. Number two, break some earplugs. And that would be just a absolute dream come true. Christmas present, birthday present, everything wrapped into one. And since you brought that up, I'm already thinking about it. So,
man, I think the people that sit around us have a really tough time, just enjoying themselves. Yeah, in the depths of the end zone over there. I mean, it's a lot of fun. Well, let's change gears just a little bit. This week, according to Jason Munns of the Hattiesburg American, Oak Grove volleyball player Breely Favre committed to the Golden Eagles. She's 6 foot, the daughter of Brett and Deanna Favre, Southern Miss royalty, coming back home to roost. And the volleyball team's been playing tremendous this season. So to get her on the team, that's going to be a lot of fun to watch.
Yeah, I hope it's going to be a lot of fun to watch what the greenhouse is going to look like after the Favre dump a whole bunch of money into it. But no, we my wife and I went to a volleyball game this year, volleyball match this year. First one I've ever been to, loved it. And we beat Southern of Baton Rouge that day. And, I know nothing about volleyball, but just from following on Twitter, I knew that we had a pretty good squad. And then I think the very next week they went to LSU and won that tournament. And I think beat maybe Virginia and LSU in the tournament, are two schools that I had heard of. And so I think we're really good. And I think Favre's daughter's really good, too. But, yeah, no, it's always good to have athletics rolling in the right direction. And it all started with hiring Bill, honestly. That's kind of where it all started. And then Monken got the football team rolling, and here we go. Here we go back to kind of what is all right with the state of Mississippi and the universe.
Also, Southern Miss-related news, former Southern Miss infielder, current Minnesota Twins second baseman Brian Dozier has been on a tear of epic proportions. He is sitting at 42 home runs on the year as of this recording, which sets a new American League home run record for second baseman.
Yeah, it's unbelievable. It's and I read the article when he was tied with. Do you know who he was tied with?
No.
For the record?
No.
Honus Wagner.
Oh, wow.
Honus freaking Wagner is who he was tied with. And, hadn't heard of Brian Dozier on Jim Rome or, God forbid, Clarion Ledger or anything like that. But, of course, all of us in Golden Eagle Nation know all about it. And maybe it's because the Twins are no good. I don't know. But it's really it's completely unbelievable. I don't know how many home runs he hit in college, but I'm guessing that it was no more than 20 or 15. He wasn't a home run guy, but boy, has he found his stroke.
Oh, absolutely.
And with zero protection in the lineup. The Twins are no good. So you could easily pitch around the one guy that they have that is good 42 homers is crazy. It's nuts.
Also in NFL transaction news, former Golden Eagle offensive tackle Rashad Hill was promoted from the practice squad to the active roster of the Jacksonville Jaguars. It's pretty awesome for him to get to make that move in his hometown. I think there was a lot of chatter the past few years about his NFL potential. I'm not sure why he kind of fell off at the end, but it's good that he's starting to realize it and get to make that active roster for the Jaguars.
Yeah, I mean, the more people you can have in the league and put up on the wall in the Golden Eagle locker room, the better. The more, and he's a Southern Miss guy too. You know, I mean, just a true Golden Eagle through and through. That does it just the Golden Eagle way. Just beats you by hard work, beats you by you telling him he's not good enough, and he just proves that he is. And here he goes. So let's see where he can take it from here. But how many Golden Eagles is that, Jamie, that we have currently on NFL rosters? Like 12 or something? 10 or 12?
It's a little less right now from the cuts. Nunez Roches was cut, but then signed to the practice squad this week as well. It's around the 7, 8, 9 range. You know, and then you throw in the practice squad players as well. Yeah, it probably is about 12. I need a stat guy. I need a stat boy or whatever. I need Tony Reale over here to help me out with this, so I can make sure that I'm on point. So Nathan Hosey doesn't get his panties in a wad. Also, this past week, we missed it because we were at the Sklar Brothers show, but Jamie Collins with another interception and a dominating performance as the Patriots just seemed to find a way to win with whoever they put behind center.
Yeah, man. Ellis. Anyway, you know, I mean, he does it every week, and he's like the best player on the field whenever you turn on the game. And I'm so glad that I'm able to watch the game. And if I'm sitting at a bar watching the game, I can point out that that's Jamie Collins from Southern Miss. And even if they don't know anything about Southern Miss or Jamie Collins, if they have eyeballs in their head, they can watch the TV screen, and they can also tell that he's probably the best player on the field. It's so cool. And he reps Southern Miss, you know, on Twitter and Facebook and stuff too. So that's solid. I mean, recruits love it when they can come in and they know that guy was just here, you know, walking the same halls that they're going to be walking, and it's just nice to see it happen.
And they've got his picture in the locker room now, in the new locker room. You know, and he's you know, definitely the most visible face for Southern Miss football in the NFL right now. I mean, I guess Favre, given the Hall of Fame stuff, but as far as active players go, there's none more visible than Jamie Collins right now. So it's really terrific to see him getting the respect and living up to the potential we all knew he was capable of.
I think that you need to get Jamie Collins on a podcast and see if you can ask him anything about what Belichick, how does Belichick do it? It's almost like he relishes, he kind of got fired up when Brady was going to miss some games. And then Garoppolo goes to town. And I think he just says, you know what? Let's see what I can mix up here. Like he loves it. He wants to get in there, and he wants to just prove to anybody that he doesn't care.
And you know, Jamie's not much of a talker.
I know. That's where you come in. You are the talker, and you can just get something out of him, and then go tell.
Jay, yeah.
But you know, yeah.
And I was actually sitting with the Sklars after the show the other night, and the highlights came on. I saw him. I think they got tired of me telling them all the Southern Miss players that were in the league or had been in the league, or because I was just spouting them off. I was like, oh yeah. You know, we got to discussing the best that never was, the Marcus Dupree story as well. I told him about the ins and outs of what's been happening lately in Hattiesburg politics in that regard. So, but I think they were tired of listening to me brag about how well the Golden Eagles have performed at that level. Well, we've got a big game this week. I'm looking forward to it, man. Let's get the tailgate together. Let's get everybody fired up. Everybody come out there. You guys come out to the game on Saturday. It's going to be so much fun. Me and Jason, I mean, we're always looking forward to getting out there. We'll be out there setting up Friday night, ready to go for a great day of football on Saturday. Thanks for coming on the show, man. Thanks for coming on in this transition period. And you're somebody that's really excited about the transition, man, because we've talked about it. We've talked about how much we've missed the Score 1400 AM since it's been down.
Yeah, I'm really glad that it's back. I'm glad Lanny's doing it, and I'm glad you're going to be a part of it. And, yeah, man, looking forward to getting out to rock this weekend and making some rice patties.
That was my good friend Jason Bailey. You can follow him on Twitter at BumperJBailey. You can follow us on Twitter at ToTheTopTalk, at Jamie_Arrington for my personal account, and then at Hub City Comedy if you want to keep up with the comedy shows in and around South Mississippi. Also, a new Twitter account to keep up with. This is the station we're going to be affiliated with, at The Score 1400. That's 1400 AM The Score. Then on Facebook, To The Top Talk, Jamie Arrington Comedy, Hub City Comedy, and The Score 1400 as well, which should be live any day now. So if you're in the Hattiesburg area, keep checking up on that. We'll put announcements out on social media and the like. My next comedy show is going to be Thursday, October the 20th. Not necessarily a traditional stand-up comedy show, but this is going to be the roast of Hub City Comedy. So if you're into that type of humor, if you're into roast humor, it's going to be hilarious. It's going to be a lot of fun. We've had a lot of fun prepping up for this. That's going to be Thursday, October 22nd at the Thirsty Hippo in Hattiesburg. Starts at 8 p.m. Tickets are only going to be $10. It's going to be an amazing show. Might be one of the best shows we've ever had. Of course, if you're into a roast comedy. Then this Saturday night, folks, come out to the Rock, come out to M.M. Roberts Stadium, come out to campus, come tailgate with us. Southern Miss versus Rice, Saturday, October the 1st. Kickoff is at 6 p.m. And I just saw where USM is opening at 20.5-point favorites. Some even have us up to 21 as of this recording. So hopefully it'll be a fun game to watch. And by fun game to watch, I mean a blowout. Hopefully we can put some points up on the board and take them to school. Also, while Jason and I were doing that interview, it was announced that Les Miles has been fired from LSU, and the interim coach will be Ed Orgeron. Y'all, football. Brent Schaefer. I hope that guy makes another song. So like I've said before, this podcast in transition will be on the air in the next few weeks. We're going to have some great options for you guys as far as streaming goes. So, as always, I hope you guys enjoyed this. Southern Miss to the top. Talk.